As long as stories have been told, power has been at play in them. Heroes have fought to gain it, villains have schemed to keep it, and many more have stood on the sidelines, anxious how a power struggle might play out. In the right hands, power can bring justice to those who have been wronged. In the wrong hands, it can bring careless destruction. And for those who fall somewhere between good and evil, power can either solidify one's character or corrupt it. Looking at Tolkien's One Ring or Star Wars' dark side, it is clear that these themes aren't relegated to ancient legends and histories, but still influence even the most popular of modern media. Today we will explore these symbols in a story with a ring that is magic yet cursed, a dragon and its hoard of gold, and shape-shifting beings who are transformed by greed. While that may or may not sound familiar to you, the Volsungs Saga, a legendary Old Norse tale spanning generations, shows the dangers of power and the lengths one hero goes to gain it. These generations feature gods and supernatural warriors, shapeshifters and historical kings. That is to say, more than one episode can cover, but some recurring symbols, like a priceless, cursed treasure, appear throughout. Through this treasure, the Volsungs Saga shows an eternal power struggle, exploring how greed acts across multiple generations. My name is Sean. Welcome to Mythos and Logos. One part of the saga tells of a young man, Sigurd, who is clearly fated to be a hero. Sigurd wields the reforged sword of his father, a great king. His fearless horse descends from the divine steed Sleipnir. And if that isn't enough, Sigurd's Volsung family line traces back through a line of kings to the god Odin himself. The aspiring hero is only missing one thing. He needs to prove himself in battle. At least, that is what Sigurd's foster father, the smith named Regin, tells him. Conveniently, Regin knows just the perfect quest for the young hero: to slay a dragon. Better yet, Regin knows exactly where to find one. A simple smith having such knowledge of heroic quests to be filled and dragons lurking in shadowy caves seems strange to Sigurd. But Regin replies that this is no ordinary dragon. It is his brother. Regin's tale begins years ago as Odin, Thor, and Loki wander past a riverside, where Loki sees an otter with a pile of fish. Perhaps jealous of the creature's success, or perhaps looking for a challenge, Loki tells Thor and Odin that he can kill 2 creatures in a single blow. When Loki throws a stone, striking the otter in the head as it grabs a fish, he's proven right. Though Loki doesn't know it yet, this was no ordinary otter. Now the gods stop by a nearby house to stay the night, and are let in by a family who welcomes them, despite searching for their lost brother, a shapeshifter named Otter. The gods then seek to repay the family's hospitality with a dinner, and Loki, seeming to forget that Otter, the name of the missing shape-shifting brother, is the Old Norse word for otter, brings out the night's meal, the otter and fish he killed. The family, of course, instantly recognizes their lost brother on the table. Now, in Norse belief, even the gods can't bring someone back from the dead. But history tells us that, rather than risk entering a feud which would leave both sides unable to survive, the victim's family would be paid a vergild, literally meaning a man price, like a modern legal settlement. Now, because his fishing supported his family, Otter's vergild is high, with the family deciding that Loki must pay Otter's weight in gold. Loki, true to character, not wanting to pay himself after all, captures and robs an unlucky dwarf. Needing enough to cover every last whisker, and despite the dwarf's pleas, he even takes the magic ring, which allowed the dwarf to gain his wealth. As Loki leaves, the dwarf utters a curse, that the gold may bring death to anyone who possesses it. Loki, however, does not give the curse a chance to take hold, as he pays the family and is on his way. But the curse does take hold soon enough, when Regin comes home to find the gold missing, with only his father's body in its place. Regin notices his brother Fafnir's footprints leading away, and follows them to a cave. But as he draws closer, they begin to change. One can imagine Regin seeing Fafnir's footprints begin to drag before shoes are cast off entirely, and instead a long, slithering trail marks the path. This trail grows wider until at its end Regin finds the reason for the change, as Fafnir stands before him, transformed into a dragon. Fafnir, then, is the dragon that Sigurd must slay to prove himself. Regin tells him to dig a pit beneath where Fafnir leaves his cave to drink water, then to attack from below. Sigurd is concerned. What if the dragon falls on him, or he drowns as the pit fills with its blood? But Regin calls Sigurd a coward for his concern. Quite bold for someone letting another do his fighting, and sends him on his way. As Fafnir's cave comes into sight, someone appears to Sigurd. An old man with one eye, carrying a staff and a wide-brimmed hat, who he has seen before. This man was there when he found his legendary horse. In fact, this mysterious figure appears throughout the Volsungs saga, at key times in each generation. This man tells Sigurd that he was right to be concerned, shows him how to dig a series of canals so he doesn't drown in the dragon's blood, which would leave both monster and hero slain. Whether or not Sigurd recognizes that this man is indeed Odin, he takes his advice and prepares for battle. When Fafnir exits his cave, the earth shakes with violent tremors. Fafnir shoots poison across the path ahead, but Sigurd holds his position, waiting for the right moment, striking the dragon when it passes over his pit. As the blood flows away, Fafnir realizes that he is dying, and takes the time to speak with the one who bested him. I raised a crest of terror above all men. I breathed out poison all around me so that no one dared to come near me. And I feared no weapon, and never found so many against me that I didn't think myself by far the stronger, and they were all afraid of me. It is exactly that sense of terror, Sigurd replies, that gives victory to one who knows that no one is invincible. Precisely because the people thought defeating Fafnir was impossible, therefore never tried, the dragon let its guard down, allowing it to be defeated by someone brave enough who came along. But as Sigurd moves toward the treasure, Fafnir gives him a warning. My brother Regin has brought about my death, and I'm glad that he will bring about your death too. That will be just what he wanted. You'll be riding to a place where you'll find so much gold that it will last you all your days. But that same gold will be your death, and the death of any man who possesses it." As Fafnir lays dying, Sigurd says that if he were immortal, he would turn back. But his days are numbered, and he would rather live them surrounded by riches. The dragon takes its last breath as Sigurd rides away, and Regin emerges from behind a bush to meet him. Regin congratulates Sigurd on his feat, though not before giving himself credit. He is the one who told Sigurd about the dragon, after all, and forged the sword that he used to slay it. Sigurd counters that a strong heart is more important than a strong sword. A deal is reached, though, where Sigurd can keep the treasure, and all Regin asks in return is the dragon's heart. As if this didn't raise enough red flags, Regin takes a drink of the dragon's blood and hands Sigurd the heart to roast. As he turns the heart over the fire, Sigurd burns a finger on a drop of oil. He reflexively draws his finger to his mouth and gets the slightest taste of dragon blood. This taste of blood from the heart of the beast opens Sigurd's eyes, or rather his ears, as he can now understand the language of birds. Perhaps the taste of dragon blood gave Sigurd the taste of the dragon's greed and lust for power, or perhaps it helped him to understand Regin's corruption. In either case, the birds tell Sigurd that Regin will surely kill him unless he strikes first. Sigurd does strike, killing Regin before he has the chance to do the same. So Sigurd takes a bite from the dragon's heart before riding off to Fafnir's cave. There, Sigurd takes his treasure, the magic ring, and the curse that comes along with it, taking so much that even his divine horse struggles to carry it all. Careful readers may notice that this treasure, once the size of an otter, has clearly grown over time. In this way, the treasure is symbolic of human greed. It is greed, after all, that caused Loki to steal the gold in the first place, then led Fafnir to kill his father for the gold, and growing led Regin to orchestrate Fafnir's death, and then led to Regin's death at Sigurd's hand. As one action builds upon another, this lust for riches compounds, the damage growing just as the treasure grows, just as Fafnir grew from man to snake to dragon. And Sigurd does not end this cycle. When he eventually dies, as a result of a feud between his two wives, he's given a funeral at sea, on a ship filled to the brim with gold. Only half of his treasure. Even decades later, the violence continues, with Sigurd's cousins being tortured by Attila the Hun, looking to make the treasure one more conquest. It is only when they decide that no one should have it, choosing to die rather than give away the treasure's hiding place, that the gold is finally lost and the curse finally ends. While the treasure's curse may have ended long ago, it speaks to a truth which is just as real today. Power, like those who wield it, can be complex and multifaceted. Powerful figures accomplish great good. The world is certainly safer without dragons dwelling in every cave. But the story of the treasure in the Volsungs saga reminds us that human nature is a beast in and of itself. The appeal of power can turn someone good into a dragon, breaking ties with those closest to them, spitting poison as they retreat to guard their hoard. Make no mistake, Sigurd and the rest of the Volsung family are today remembered as heroes. This would have been the case even if Loki never started the chain of events by showing off his stone-throwing skills, as they accomplished many great feats. But power is like the cursed treasure, in that it can amplify both the best and the worst in us. The same treasure both caused Fafnir to kill his father, but also allowed Sigurd's cousins to give up their lives and be remembered as heroes. And while we may not all come from ancient lines of kings, we each have opportunity to use the power that we have for good or evil, remembering that it can bring out the best or the worst in us. And as we are faced with these opportunities, we should be careful not to forget the lesson that followed Sigurd and his family for generations, that even a noble hero is not immune from the taste of a dragon's heart. We can only hope that, like the ancient heroes at their best, under pressure, our strengths and powers may bring out the best in us.